In a quiet town surrounded by rolling hills and a river that divided the land, there lived a young blacksmith named Ethan. His hands were strong from years of hammering iron, yet his heart carried a dream greater than anything he had forged before. Ethan wanted to build a bridge across the river, not just a simple crossing, but a structure that would connect people, make travel easier, and leave behind a legacy of his skill. For him, this bridge was more than iron and wood. It was a symbol of his determination to prove his worth. Ethan poured all his energy into the task. He studied designs from books, worked day and night, and pushed himself far beyond his limits. His first attempt stood tall and proud for a moment, but when the townspeople gathered to test it, the bridge collapsed under the weight. The sound of cracking would echo through the valley, and so did the laughter and whispers of those who doubted him. They mocked his ambition, calling him foolish for daring to dream so big. The failure crushed Ethan. He could not sleep that night, haunted by the sight of the broken bridge and the disappointment in his neighbor's eyes. Doubt filled his heart, whispering that perhaps he was not meant for greatness after all. He looked at other craftsmen, skilled and respected, and compared himself to them until he felt small and unworthy. Every swing of his hammer reminded him of the collapse. Every nail he drove into would echo with the sound of his defeat. Days turned into weeks, and his workshop grew silent. The tools that once sang with sparks of creation lay untouched. He avoided the river, ashamed to face the reminder of his failure. His dream seemed buried beneath the weight of humiliation and despair. But life has a way of sending lessons when they are most needed. Ethan found himself speaking with an old carpenter who had seen many seasons of work and struggle. The old man reminded him that failure was not the end of the road but part of the journey. Mistakes, he said, were teachers in disguise, showing where the weakness lay and where strength was needed. Ethan realized that his first attempt had not been wasted. It had given him knowledge he did not have before. This thought reignited a small flame inside him. Slowly, he returned to his workshop, not with the rush of ambition but with the patience of a learner. He studied the broken beams, analyzed where the design had gone wrong, and began again with new understanding. Each failure after that became less painful, for he began to see them not as defeats but as stepping stones toward improvement. With every attempt, he grew wiser. He experimented with stronger supports, different materials, and better joinery. His hands that once trembled with doubt now worked with calm confidence. He began to understand that mastery does not come from instant success but from persistence in the face of failure. The river did not intimidate him anymore. It became his teacher, testing his work and sharpening his resolve. Seasons passed, and the townspeople watched in curiosity. They expected him to quit long ago, yet he kept trying, kept learning, and kept building. His persistence slowly turned their ridicule into quiet respect. They began to see that Ethan's spirit was stronger than the setbacks he faced. Finally, one spring morning, after countless trials, Ethan's bridge stood completed. Its beams held firm, its foundation rooted deep, and its design balanced strength with beauty. When the people crossed it for the first time, they felt the stability beneath their feet and the security of his craftsmanship. The bridge did not collapse. It stood as a testament to perseverance. The same voices that once mocked him now praised his determination. They marveled at his courage to rise after falling so many times. But Ethan knew the true reward was not their admiration. His greatest victory was the realization that failure had been his teacher, shaping him into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. His story spread beyond the town, inspiring others who had stumbled in their own pursuits. Farmers who had lost crops, merchants who had failed in trade, and children struggling in their learning all looked to Ethan's bridge as a reminder that failure is never final. Ethan himself never forgot the lesson. He would tell others that failure is not the opposite of success but part of its foundation. Each broken piece of wood, each collapsed design, each sleepless night had carried him closer to the day his dream became real. What once felt like the end had been the very beginning of growth. The moral of Ethan's journey was clear. Failure is not the end. It is the turning point where courage is tested, patience is built, and true strength is born. Those who stop at failure remain where they are, but those who rise from it discover new possibilities they never imagined. Success does not belong to the ones who never fail but to the ones who refuse to give up. And so the bridge stood, not just as a crossing over the river, but as a symbol of resilience. Every traveler who walked across it felt the unspoken story. It carried the story of a man who learned that failure is not defeat but a guide toward success. Through his struggle, Ethan proved that the end only comes when you stop trying. As long as you rise again, failure will always lead you forward.